Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, COVID-19 Best Practices Helping Your Employees Cope Now and Prepare for the Future. Today is April 21st, 2020. And thank you for joining us. We have a very exciting presentation prepared for you today. I'm Beth Gallick, Executive Director of the Bay Area Manufacturers Association, or BAMA. This webinar is made possible thanks to the Florida Makes Network, which BAMA is a part of. The Florida Makes Network's mission is to provide the productivity and technological performance of Florida's manufacturing sector. The Florida Makes Network is an industry-led initiative operated by Florida's regional manufacturers associations in partnership with industry, research, educational, and economic development organizations, both public and private, at the state and national levels. The network provides services focused on three principal value streams: technology adoption, talent development, and business growth. BAMA, your host for today's webinar, is proud to be part of the Florida Makes Network. We support manufacturers and promote economic development in the Tampa Bay region. Our next webinar is coming up on April 29th in our talent development series. It's an online training, Becoming a Digital Leader in Manufacturing, How to Lead, Communicate, and Hold Your Team Accountable in a Virtual Environment. Today's presenters are Bob Kinney, Managing Principal of Accelerate Research Results Group, and Johnny Campbell. He's a keynote speaker and author and founder of Rise Up and Win International. So now let's get started. In this webinar, you will have an opportunity to answer questions using our question window. As a participant, your audio will be in listen-only mode using your phone or computer. This webinar will be recorded and a link to the recording will be provided to you within a few days. Bob Kinney will get started. He is the Managing Principal of Accelerate Results Group, a Tampa-based business advisory company. Bob helps his clients become more agile and to innovate faster. Prior to founding ARG, Bob was general manager for 3 global 500 companies and 2 smaller private companies. Bob has led startups, turnarounds, acquisition, integrations, and transformations in safety, quality, productivity, and culture. Bob is also a valued BAMA member. He coordinated our popular roundtable series on innovation and is a third-party provider for Florida Makes. Bob earned his MBA overseas from Kellogg and Wharton and is a certified manager, certified mentor, and certified Intermetrics consultant. Today, he will talk to us about the Intermetrics and dialogue assessment tools and a particular benefit they have at times like this. Thank you, Bob, for being here, and you can take it away.
Okay, thank you, Beth, and thanks to all of you who have joined this webinar. And if you have family on the front lines, a special thank you to all of them. It's great to be a member of BAMA and Florida Makes. And like many people and other organizations, we were looking for ways to help and support our network. And this led to what I want to share with you this morning, helping you and your employees cope in these uncertain times. What can we do to help? How can we, in some way, be the silver lining? I'm going to present assessment tools, first for the individual, then for the organization. And I want to just say up front, because of this COVID-19 crisis and everything we are facing as a community, we are bringing these to you at no charge, as Beth mentioned. So the title, Help Your Employees Cope Now and Prepare for the Next Step. So how do we cope in these challenging times? How can we feel better about dealing with all of these issues in front of us? One idea is to gain a deeper understanding of our strengths and our talents, to shine a light on all of the powerful traits we have that will be helpful in this journey. So in my work, we use the Intermetrics assessment tools to improve self-awareness. This is the first step in achieving individual peak performance. Interestingly, we have found this process to be quite therapeutic, perfect at times like this. Deepening the understanding of our strengths and talents, reviewing them in an orderly manner, and reminding ourselves of all we have to draw on during times like this is reassuring and a confidence builder. Yes, I can work through this. Besides being therapeutic right now, there will be a practical benefit going forward. During these next few weeks, with a little more time on our hands, we can work through the relevant sections of the assessment report, enhance our self-awareness, and build our plans as to how we better leverage our strengths and talents and prepare to be better than ever. Take this time now as an opportunity for self-improvement. Come out on the other side stronger than ever before. Yes, I will be better than ever. And Beth, I think we have a polling question to get started. Does your organization use assessments on a regular basis? We just want to do a quick poll. And Beth, you see the results coming in? You can kind of let me know when.
Okay, we can close the poll now. We have 61% yes. Well, we're going down to 58% yes and 42% no.
Okay.
So I'm pretty even.
Yep. Let me, so why do assessments anyway? Research has shown the most successful people in the world have a high self-awareness. They know their strengths and they play to them. They know their weaknesses and they don't seem to worry much about them. They're comfortable in their own skin, they're authentic. And it turns out only about 10 to 15% of people have a strong self-awareness. It's how we begin most coaching or leadership development processes. The DISC Plus tool, it's not an aptitude test. There are no right or wrong answers. Rather, it is just who we are, like our DNA. In our coaching work, we look at this report like a doctor would look at an X-ray or an MRI. Now, another side benefit besides the individual self-awareness is a Harvard study that showed teams made up of members with a high self-awareness are 50% more productive. So first, we're going to look at the DISC index. So this DISC Plus, it's two tools. It's the DISC index and the values index. The DISC index is the how we prefer to operate. It's the work of Dr. Marston, and it's the most utilized assessment tool in the world. So probably a number of you have taken this. The Intermetrics DISC index is unique in several ways. It's the first ever click and drag. It's the only one where you rank all 4 items instead of 2. And we present the separate entities, your D, your I, your S, your C, individually, and then as a combination of traits, meaning your natural and adaptive. So there are 4 components. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on what the DISC is, but I wanted to just show a flavor of it. It basically measures your behavioral style, and there are 4 components of behavior. The D, which is for decisive, how you go about making decisions. The I is interactive. It's usually referred to as kind of the people side. S is stabilizing, the pace that you prefer, and C is cautious. And basically, the way this works, like I said, there's not a right or wrong answer. It's just where we are on this spectrum based on how you take the assessment. So you can see a high D is someone who's demanding driving, and then the other end of the spectrum, a low D, and so on. The high I, someone who's outgoing, gregarious, and then of course the low I, the other side of that. And then the high S, someone who's patient, predictable, and so on. basically, it's a very easy assessment. This is online. It's 15 minutes, and it reveals quite a report. Like I said, you get a natural behavioral pattern as well as a adaptive. The next slide here. This is the most important slide for today, and this idea of coping. The focus right now is in this report, and by the way, the Disc Plus is over 50 pages, and they're each one about 25 pages. So there's a lot of information. And in this report, each of these is a section: strength-based insights, ideas for staying more motivated, ideal job and climate, communication insights, and then a relevant section. And this is what I was referring to when I said it's quite therapeutic to shine a light on our talents, our strengths, our best traits, what we can lean on in these challenging times. And this is what I mean here. And so you'll have a report that shows you, like on the strength-based insights, I just grabbed one and took a look, and some of the things for this individual, it says self-motivated and goal-directed, something to remember in times like this. Willing to work hard for a mission, a cause, a project, or a purpose. These are all the kinds of strengths and traits that can help us to remember that we have all of this inside that we can call on in these challenging times. Then for development for the future, kind of like phase 2 of going through this process over the next few weeks, in the DISC report, there's also a section on ideas for being more effective, areas for continual improvement, and then again, this relevance section. How are your scores relevant to what you do? And this is where you can use this report to kind of work through, based on my behavioral pattern, what are some ideas I have that can make me be more effective? The next tool is the values index. So this is the next instrument. And the values index is the why. Why are you motivated to use your talents? What are your drivers? What are your passions? It's the works of Doctors Allport and Springer. There are 7 dimensions of motivation. The Intermetrics Values Index is unique in that it's the first click and drag. We use 7 dimensions. Most other tools use 6. The 7 keeps it true to these works of Doctors Allport and Springer. And we have a contemporary list of statements which keeps it relevant for today. And this is what the index covers. So basically, there are 7 dimensions of motivation. There's aesthetic, which is the drive for harmony, balance; economic, the drive for money, results, return; individualistic, uniqueness; political, and so on. But values help influence behavior and action, and can be considered somewhat of a hidden motivation because they're not readily observable. But understanding your values helps to tell you why you prefer to do what you do. It's vital for superior performance to ensure that your motivations are satisfied by what you do. This drives your passion, reduces fatigue, and inspires you, and increases drive. So basically, if you look at these elements here, you get a score between 1 and 99, and your 2 high scores, research shows, is what really drives your motivations. This is also, we use this tool for engagement mapping, where you can look at what does a job offer or require, and then what is the person motivated by or passionate about. Engagement mapping. The next slide is, so for coping now, again, shine a light on, there are 5 dimensions, 5 sections under each of the 7 dimensions. There's key strengths, motivational insights, general traits, training and learning, and continual improvement insights. And basically, for now, you can take a look, what are my motivators? For instance, if I'm a high theoretical, that's the thirst for knowledge. What can I learn? Is there a book I can read? What can I do at this time? And of course, if I'm high altruistic, who can I help, who can I support, then right now you have all kinds of opportunities, as we see around Florida and the country, everyone trying to do what they can to help. And then for the future, again, this would be kind of the next step, would be there's a section on continual improvement insights, and a relevance section, and a success connection. And again, we can do that as kind of the second step. The key is, like I said, we found going through this DISC Plus is very therapeutic, and it reminds us of our talents and our strengths and what we can rely on at this time. So that's why we're offering this right now at no charge. You can see the contact information there at the bottom of this screen. And basically, all that I would need is the first and last name, email address, and gender. And then you receive a link, and it's 15 minutes for each of those assessments. And Beth, I believe this information also goes out on an email that you send, correct?
Yes, we will be doing a survey following the webinar, and you can also just include that in the survey results. Bob, we did get a few questions. Would you like to address those now or wait until the end?
No, let's go ahead and do the ones for this tool now if you have some. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the first question is this validated, and what companies use the Intermetrics assessments?
Okay, thanks, Beth. Yeah, so the reason I use this tool, and I have since 2004, it's the most qualified, the most comprehensive, and the most validated assessment instrument on the market today. It's been validated in over 28 studies, over 20 years by more than 19 examiners, including EEOC. It's used by companies like Google, Microsoft, IBM, 3M, Carrier, CAT, Intel, J&J, and 10,000 other organizations in 42 countries.
Okay, wonderful. And what are the various uses for these tools?
Well, a lot of, they can be used for, hiring, screening, promoting, coaching, individual development, engagement mapping, retention, building effective teams, benchmarking, quite a number of uses.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Those are all the questions we have right now.
Okay, very good. We'll go to, let me see if I'm, there we go. So the next, so that was the individual assessment. The dialogue is our organizational assessment. It's data indicating alignment of organizational goals. And this, I'm affiliated with Trusted Advisors Network, and they bring me this assessment tool. Having trouble advancing the slide. So anyway, you'll notice that this tool is built around the 7 areas that follows the NIST Baldrige Criteria. So it's very convenient because a lot of the BAMA type organizations and Florida makes likes to use, like to use the Baldrige Criteria. It's a 70 questions, takes 20 minutes. It's confidential, online. All the information goes directly into Trusted Advisors Network, and it results in a PDF report. Why do an organizational assessment or an employee survey? Well, for one, for decades, it's been on the evidence-based list of high-performance HR practices. It facilitates ongoing communication, improving engagement. It gives employees a sense of ownership and responsibility. And what a lot of people overlook, this last part, surveys are a vehicle for changing behavior. You don't just ask a question, you influence, you prompt reflection. And I just pulled 3 of the questions out of our actual instrument. The first one, I am proud of the products, services that we supply. It doesn't say my team is or our company is, it says I am proud of the product services I supply. And it makes people reflect on, the fact that I should be really proud of what we supply and what we make and really reflect if I'm not sure of that. The next one, significant improvements have taken place in this organization as a direct result of customer input. It's a very powerful question because it reminds us, well, one, that we need to be making significant improvements, but it really gets into this customer input and how well do we listen to the customers, because we need to be listening to customers and then using that to help drive our improvement and, of course, have more loyal and satisfied customers. And then the last one, for all of our lean practitioners on the webinar, we are constantly searching for ways to reduce the time it takes to get things done. Again, kind of the essence of lean, cycle time reduction, value stream mapping. We are constantly searching for ways to reduce the time it takes to get things done. It reminds everybody that we're always looking at how can we reduce the time it takes to get things done. I think very powerful. But the biggest reason of all is alignment. How well does everyone understand the strategy? How well does everyone understand how their role fits? How well do the various areas work together? Collaboration. How do we know that our resources are properly allocated? And how can we better utilize our limited resources? Alignment is really a key. So if you look at this, what we have going on in business today, we have sky-high customer expectations, technology-driven shifts, demanding teammates, complex business models, global expansion. Now, in your business, you could maybe take one or two of these out, but you've probably got one, two, or three that you would add in that you have. So then here's the question. If this is what's going on in business today, would the above list make communication and alignment more or less important? I think we all know the answer to that. With things moving like they are, this whole idea of communication and everybody being aligned and everybody understanding what we're trying to do is even more important. And then from an Harvard Business Review, Bain and Company white paper, 94% of CEOs surveyed said our own dysfunction is a bigger threat than our competition or the marketplace opportunity. 94%, our own dysfunction is a bigger threat than our competition. And what is this dysfunction? Resources not aligned. So why the reluctance to an employee survey? And Beth, I think we have a polling question here. So what is the reluctance to employee surveys? You can kind of let me know, Beth, when how the results are coming in.
All right, I'm going to close the poll now. So 21% say no time, 14% it could be negative, 43% creates more work or follow up, 7% we already know what they think, and 14% responded other.
Okay, very good. So it kind of ties to, I think was a 43%. What was that one, Beth? It creates
work or follow up.
Yeah. So this is kind of, I've heard that so much, and that's why it was one of those, and it scored, I guess, more than double anything else. And here's what we've learned, and what actually I did this for 5 years in a corporate job because we had all this same kind of reluctance, and here's the way to remove this, and here's what to do, and this is a best practice of my colleagues at Trust Advisors and at other companies. So make it this simple. So inform the employees that we're doing a survey. Give them 7 to 10 days to complete the survey. It's a 20-minute instrument, or whatever you think works in your organization. That's just typically what we do, but you give them whatever you think. And then the one thing that does absolutely have to happen is then very timely have a meeting to review the results. This is the one thing that it does have to be very timely. Find the 3 best positive results and thank employees for their great work and celebrate. So when you get this meeting and you're having this meeting, the first thing you do is you find the 3 best positive results. It might not be the 3 highest scores, the 3 highest positive, just the 3 best positive results. And the first thing you do in this meeting is you thank employees for their great work, and you announce how you're going to celebrate, whether that means you have pizza or whatever is your way of doing this. And then from the data, find 3 things to improve on for this year and announce these 3 to the team. And if there's areas where you need help, ask for their help. But here's the hint at the bottom. Your employees know that you can't take on 10 plus projects. And one of the reasons that we hear this create too much work is, in fact, that can happen. And what I'm saying here is you can make it this easy. And we did this for 5 years, and it just works. It works fantastic, and it can be this easy. And by the way, from the data, find 3 things to improve. There's a very good chance that all 3 of your strategic initiatives, or 1 or 2 of them, are actually in that data. And then you use this to help support that these are initiatives that we're doing. In other words, you use this input to just help support what you're trying to accomplish. But your employees know that you can't, do all this at once. And they're actually relieved to hear that, we're going to be a very focused approach. The other bonus in this tool we use is there's a response to refer a friend. If any of you use Net Promoter Score, you recognize a statement like that. Would you refer a friend to work here? It's built into the survey, and so you get an employee Net Promoter Score as part of the tool. And then this, I need to know, if you want to take advantage of this offer, I need the company name, address, contact person, and stratification, or get a hold of me, or I guess through the vehicle that Beth is sending out, from Florida, makes you can get a hold of me. But anyway, it's that's what I have. Do we have any questions, Beth?
Yes, we do have one more question. What is the biggest impact companies get from dialogue?
I would say probably, everyone understanding what we're trying to accomplish and how they fit. Getting everybody on the same page, kind of that alignment. And then secondarily, or maybe it's not secondarily, would be this idea of feeling a part, or engagement, or feeling like, someone cared about, what your thoughts were. Thanks for that question.
Okay, well, thank you, Bob. We appreciate it. If any more questions come in, we can address those either at the end of the webinar, or we can email you with the answers.
Okay, very good. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So our next presenter is Johnny Campbell. He's an author and founder of Rise Up and Win International, an organization that helps people develop mental readiness so they can embrace change and turn their products and services into profits. Johnny is the past president of the National Speakers Association for the state of Illinois, and a TEDx speaker and an accredited speaker, a designation presented by Toastmaster International and held by less than 100 professional speakers in the world for excellence in public speaking. Johnny gained his change and sales experience in the insurance industry, where he worked as a corporate trainer and participated in leading hundreds of people through multiple corporate downsizing and mergers. Based on Johnny's business results, experience, and his ability at helping clients transition through their challenges and success, both in business and in life, he's called the Transition Man. Welcome, Johnny. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Beth, for having me here. And what we will do is we will get started here. Do I have the controls?
There you go. They're handed over to you.
Okay, let's see. There it is. All right. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Just like before, I'm so happy to be here with you guys to have the opportunity to share with you some things on how to better prepare yourself here as we go through this very challenging time here. Just a quick bit of story about myself here. I've been a professional speaker in this area of helping people transition through change crisis for the past 20 years. And I came out of the insurance industry, so all of my knowledge and insights come from the corporate perspective of how you help people deal with the uncertainties of change, difficulties in the marketplace, and just an overall sense of uncertainty as we move forward here. So that's what really my story comes from. And what I'm here to do today, as was Bob, is to just kind of help everyone here have a way of coping and dealing with these uncertain times and these situations here. Now, what I'm going to cover, as you can see here, is how to gain clarity, confidence when leading people through the uncertainties of change, having strategies on how to maximize productivity, profitability in the midst of change, and learn why people resist change and what drives its acceptance here. So one of the biggest things that I want everyone here as they listen to me is to think about is, before anything can begin, you as a leader or you as someone that works in an organization, is there must be mental readiness for what is you're about to embark upon. Whatever project you're working on, you've got to be in the right state of mind of how you think about things so that you will perform at the levels that it's expected of you, whether that's for yourself or that's for your employees. It's about your mental readiness. Think about it for a moment here. Has anyone ever told you exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, and you still didn't do it? Or do you know anybody that's in that same boat? Told them exactly what to do, they still didn't do it. And you wonder, what's the problem? Well, the reality is they're not ready. They're not mentally ready to get engaged at what you're talking about. A lot of times, employees will do things because they have someone over them and they feel that pressure, and they will do it. But will they actually perform at the level that they should? Or will they do just enough to get by? That's where the issue lies for a lot of things that we are trying to accomplish. They have to be in the right state of mind, the right mental readiness to do what you need them to do. That's why in sports, they work with those athletes constantly to get their heads on straight so that they will perform and do the task. In the military, they work on their heads first to get their minds straight so that they will perform the task. Successful organizations have everyone in the right state of mind first, and from that, they're able to accomplish wonderful and powerful things. So that's why the mental readiness is so important here. The slide right here starts it off here. Let's really talk about the heart and truth of the matter right now, what we're dealing with COVID-19 and everything that's going on right now. There is a great level of uncertainty and unpredictability, and no one really knows what the future holds except that the future will eventually arrive. And this level of uncertainty is paralyzing everyone at this moment because it's so uncertain as to what's going to happen and when is it going to happen and how is it going to happen. And all of these questions get into everyone's head, and it starts to paralyze us, and it causes us to fall asleep and not do the things that we can be doing right now to be successful. So this uncertainty really paralyzes us. But let me give you a taste of reality here. This is the reality of the situation. As you can see from the character over there with the cat, this is where we are right now. This is our reality right now. These are the things that are going on right now. Wherever you are and wherever you're listening to this, this is what's affecting you, and it's what's affecting your people. This is what's going on in their heads right now. This is what keeps them from performing at the level that they want to perform at. They have these anxieties that are going on, and you as a leader, you as someone that's going to guide them through this, have to be aware of what you are dealing with here. And all of these things here create uncertainty. All of those things create that uncertainty. And when people have uncertainty, they don't want to do anything. They want to sit, wait, and watch and hope. And hoping is not a strategy for future success. Waiting and watching, and they're sitting back, and that's what they're doing right now. So what we have to do as leaders, and even in your own life right now, is we have to get people to start living in the now. What can you do right now? See, uncertainty is about the future right now. But when we get people to become present, like you as a leader, you as an individual, become present. What can you do right now? What is within your control right now? When you think about all of the things outside of us, there's so much uncertainty about the future and what's next, and that's paralyzing. We must gain control by thinking about what we can do right now. And finding your now is about how you see yourself, how you see the situation, and how you see yourself inside of a situation. It's about what's going on right now. See, these are the things you can control. How you see yourself dealing with it, how you see the situation based on where you're coming from, and how you see yourself dealing with the situation. It's all about right now. Don't think about the future. Think about what you can do right now to make a difference, right now to maintain control, right now. That's what you have to think about. We're right now in a world where it's about day to day right now. It's hard to think about the future. You must think about what can I do right now to make the next day better. But what am I doing right now? Am I studying new materials? Am I training myself? Am I doing assessments? What am I doing right now to make the next day better? Where we're at in this world right now is a cumulative effect. What you do today is what makes up tomorrow, but you have to be doing stuff right now to make tomorrow better. If you are waiting for tomorrow to be better and you have not done anything today, you are crippling yourself right now. So you got to think about it. How am I going to be successful? It's how you see yourself, how you see the situation, and how you see yourself getting through that situation. I always show this slide right here. In crisis, in uncertainty, especially when you're dealing with people, there are opportunities around us if you are looking for them. In every crisis, there's definitely loss and people suffer, but there's also opportunity here as well. Opportunity for you to grow, opportunity for your business to grow, but you have to be looking for the opportunity. If you are looking at the uncertainties of things, that's why you don't see the opportunity of things that are around you right now. And I know as you listen to this, you say, well, this guy is more of a motivational type of guy. I'm excited. I'm not really a motivational guy. What I am is a pragmatist, and I see profit and I see opportunity in the things that we're talking about here. So don't let my excitement fool you, because I'm telling you exactly things that you can do right now to be even more successful. First key point is this: how you see yourself. And what do I mean by how do you see yourself here? How you see yourself is really how you look at the situation you're in right now. A lot of times as a leader or someone in business, we kind of see ourselves in a certain way. And then when this event occurred, it's almost as if how we see ourselves has been taken from us. But no, in reality, you are still that same person, but you have an opportunity right now to become better, to become more of what you want. What you should be doing right now for yourself is developing the type of skill sets that are going to be more profitable and productive for the future right now. This is that moment right now where you develop yourself, where you develop your teams, where you get them prepared for the future right now. We're not waiting on the future. Right now. This is when you do it. You always tell yourself, someday, one day, we'll possibly do this. You might say that for yourself, and you might say that for your organization. Well, someday and one day are never going to get here. All you have is right now. This is when the work happens. This is the opportunity that has never really come before, where we're all at home, where we're all stationary. This is when you have an opportunity to grow. This is where you have the opportunity to help your people grow. and become better, so that when everything starts back up, and definitely it will eventually start back up, you are further along down the road when everything begins again. That's why you have to have a clear vision. To have mental readiness, you have to be clear on, where do I want us to go? How do I see myself, the situation, or the group? But where and how where do I see ourselves going? Because right now is when you prepare for that. That's why I call it the promised land vision. You must know where you want to go right now. Don't tell yourself, well, we'll wait and see what happens. That's not a plan. You must know where you want to go when this is all over right now, so that you can start doing that work right now. If you're waiting to see, that's not a plan. Once again, you won't get to where you want to be. And here's the thing. When we get to the other side of this, there will be organizations and groups that are miles ahead of everyone, because they got clear right now. And as you lead your people, you must be clear. And the clearer you are as to where you want things to go, or even in your own life, that's how you get clarity, confidence, and a sense of certainty in your life, because you got clear there. Here's the thing. What do you want? In your own life, there are things that you want, but let me talk about your business for a moment. Something that sometimes people forget. What do you really want? Do you want new customers? That's what you should be working on right now. Do you want to retain your existing customers? That's what you should be working on right now. Do you want to recover lost customers? That's what you should be working on right now. As an organization, you should decide on, what do you want right now? And you build around that. What do you want right now? And you build around it. That's why the assessments and things can become powerful. But if you don't know what you want, it's hard to test. It's hard to assess. You got to know what you want. Once I know what I want, now I know how to use the tools to get what I want. Whether it's to develop a person, to develop the organization, or what. But every organization is driven by new customers, the retention of customers, and the acquisition of lost customers. So every business has to think about that. What do we want? You know, because when this is over, we want to be further down the road. And that's an opportunity here to be more profitable and more successful. Because right now, your customers are where they currently are, which is they're at home or they're online. This is a chance for you to build that relationship with them, to create that connection with them, to let them know that you're there for them. See, for those that don't know, many, many years ago, I think it's like 4 or 5 years ago, I had a chance to speak for Bama as a speaker at a conference, at an actual meeting down in Tampa. And when these events occurred, an email note came out. I sent a note to Bama saying, I would like to speak to you guys again. So I've spoken to you guys live at a meeting before, but I said, you know what? I want to retain that relationship. I'm hoping to reconnect with everybody again because I had a great time in the past. So I wanted to reconnect. That's what I wanted. I wanted to reconnect with an old customer and an old group that I had a great time with. And that's why I'm here today. That's the same with you. You want to reconnect with your customers, retain them, or go after new customers right now. People are around, people are sitting around hoping. But if you come to them with a plan, that creates connection. So you got to know where you are right now. Maybe you have to build up your email list again. Maybe you have to be more present on social media. Where are you right now with what you want? You have to be clear on where you're starting from. Then you can say, okay, this is what we want. This is where we're starting. Now we can use the tools that allow that to happen. Maybe you haven't been emailing your old customers. Maybe you haven't been emailing. Maybe you haven't been staying in touch with the people you need to stay in touch with. This is that opportunity. So you got to know where you are right now. Next on there, how do you see the situation? And one of the biggest things about seeing the situation is the language that you use right now. We're going through a lot of change right now. And let me tell you something about change. People do not like change. They resist change and they don't want change. And they want things to stay the same or go back to the way they were. As a person that speaks on change a lot to organizations and groups and at events, I can tell you right now, people don't like change and they shouldn't like change because that's not what we do. Change is an event, a situation, or thing. People transition to and through change. We were never designed to change. We either get better or worse from an experience. The thing we're dealing with right now, there will be people who come out of it better, and there will be people who come out of it worse in business. I'm not talking about the health aspect of this. I'm talking about the business aspect of this. Some people will be better and some will be worse, all about how they transition their teams through this situation here. That's why people transition through change. If you think about it for a moment here, you'll hear people say, if you say the words out loud, say the word change, then say the word transition. If you say the word change, then you say the word transition. Which one sounds better? It's transition, because we transition through change. We are not change. So I always show this little slide right here, the process of embracing change. It's about a process of leading people through. That's from education and training. That's how we start to lead people through this process here. When people feel uncertain, you must be clear on where we're starting from and how we're going to get through this. How people deal with the situation, the first one on there is doubt. When this event occurred, people have a lot of doubt. And the way that we overcome doubt is with clarity. You must be clear right now on what your plans are for them. That's how you overcome doubt, because when things are going on, people have lots of doubts. So clarity is your solution. You must get clear on what we're going to do next. How are we going to move? The next one is worry. People begin to worry as we've gone through this situation right here. And as they worry, what do they need more from you? They need your support. They need your effort to connect back with them. When people worry, and worry really is negative meditation. When people worry, they're meditating on the wrong things, taking the wrong actions, and then they self-sabotage themselves. What we want to do here is give people confidence. How do we give people confidence? Education and training and materials to help them get bigger than their problems. When people worry, and the only reason people worry is because they believe something is bigger than them. But when you give people the necessary information, the training, the knowledge that they need to be successful right now, they become bigger than their worries. And remember this, you've never worried about something that you believe you were bigger than it. It's only the things you believe that are bigger than you that you've worried about. So that's why these things are so important, to develop individuals and to work with them right now so they are prepared. The next one over there is overcoming fears. Right now, we are dealing with a fearful time based on the news, based on the media, based on what's being said. And it's very fearful. And you say to yourself, well, how do we really overcome the fears that we're having right now? You don't really overcome fears, you outgrow your fears. You outgrow them. In other words, it is through, once again, knowledge and training and education and application. People have to be doing something right now to overcome fear. If they're just sitting around listening, they can become so fearful that they become paralyzed. When people are actually taking action on things and they're doing things to develop themselves, they're doing things to grow themselves, then they will outgrow their fears. Fear will always be present, but they will have a healthy understanding of what it takes to be bigger than their fears, to outgrow their fears. When you're leading people, that's one of their biggest issues. They have that fear of what's next. Help them, train them, work with them, and prepare them. And here's one other thing. This is a great time to practice. During this time that we're dealing with right now, they're home, but you can still send them information to practice, to prepare themselves to get better for their business and for the future. Remember, at the end of the day, this country is driven by money, and it's a business. Customers, retaining customers, getting new customers, recovering lost customers. These are the things that drive everything. And if we're not preparing our people to be able to provide exceptional customer service, to provide great service to the supply chain, if we're not doing that, we're really going to cripple ourselves in the future. So that's why fear happens. When fear happens, people stop. But you want to prepare your people. Work with them right now to be prepared. The next thing on there that we've got here, last point, is the situation in itself. And this is what has to do with people resisting change and how they resist. One of the biggest things to helping people get past it all and not resist it is to make this time a cause. You must, when people understand that this is our cause, like we're dealing with this crisis, but this is our cause. We are going to provide the best services that we can right now. We're going to bond ourselves together even more right now, so that as we come out of this, we're a unified group and unit. See, at the end of the day, when you think about any company that you work for, you know, we have to come together to serve our customers. We have to come together, and we have to make this a cause, that it's about our customers. It's about the people we serve. And in serving them, we serve ourselves. But we must all come into agreement of what it's really all about. And when we come into agreement about what it's all about, suddenly we bond together even more, because we have this great thing that we will bond against. Here's the thing. This crisis that we're dealing with will eventually pass. And you watch what people will do. They'll go back to the way they used to be if they could. They'll start to separate. They'll start to become disengaged. But when you make this time a cause, then people are bonded more. People bond to a cause even more, because it's about serving our customers in this crisis, but it's also about serving one another, helping one another get through it, and being a part of that. The next one on there is purpose. You want to help people stop resisting change, then you have to help people understand what this is all about. Your purpose as a business professional and as an individual in your life right now, your purpose in life is to serve others with your gifts and your talents. That's your actual purpose in life. And I know you're like, wow, this guy's has told me my purpose. He doesn't even know me. Yes, I do know you, because you're a human being. Your purpose in life is to serve others with your gifts and your talents. The question is, will you develop your talents big enough to serve at the level that you want? This is an opportunity right now to develop your talents and skills so you can serve people at the level that you want to serve them at. Many people forget that it's always been about service. And it's about serving, no matter whether you're a for-profit, nonprofit, or whatever you are, it's about serving others. And in serving others, that's how you grow. But you have to remind people what it's about. When they think about it's just about them and about change in the sense of embracing it, they push back. But when you say, hey, we're here to serve our customers, we're here to serve you, we're here to serve, that helps them think about them. And in thinking about them, it helps them embrace that change more effectively. Rewards. As we go through this, we have to never forget that people are looking for rewards, whether it's recognition or money. You know, as we go through these things, acknowledging people's good works, acknowledging people stepping up, acknowledging it, if nothing else, acknowledging it as you help people cope with this situation. Because sometimes what happens to people is they feel unappreciated. They are doing things, but not getting acknowledged or recognized for it. It doesn't always have to be money, but it has to be recognition. The next part about this, and I show this always, this has to do with environment. You as a leader, you have to create this environment where service and being a unified cause to serve the customer is present. See, once a leader understands that my job is to create the environment where we will do what we need to do and serve who we need to serve. The environment is first, then comes the culture. In other words, we have an environment, then in the environment, we create standards that we live by. That creates the culture. Once the culture is created, the people live inside of the culture. Never once believe that people create, your employees don't create culture. Leadership creates the culture. And because they create the culture, they must know what it's about. We want our team to be trusting. We want them to unify. We want them to be together. Once you know that, then the tools that you need for that become much more obvious. But you have to know what kind of environment you want to create. Okay. Well, there you have it in the time that we have here. I talked about clarity, confidence when leading people. I talked about productivity, profitability in the midst of change that has to do with your customers. And then I just talked about helping them embrace change and accept it, meaning a cause, a purpose, and a reward. The crisis we must face, we must all face. And here's a quote that I want everyone to see here. To each there comes a time in life, special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder, offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them, fit to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared, unqualified for which could have been their finest hour. That's what living in the now is about. This is that moment where it's your finest hour, ladies and gentlemen. As you've listened to me here, do not let what I've said fool you. I've talked about the root cause of your problem and the answer to your problem. It is in the now. It is preparing yourself right now in this moment. This is where the opportunity is. And if you don't do anything about it and you don't heed my words, you're going to be back here in the same situation a year from now, in the same place and stuck, because that's what happens. People go back to sleep and they forget. And then another crisis comes up and people say, why aren't I prepared? Let's see here. And my final thoughts. Another quote here I want you to think about. In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. When we move past this situation, when we move past it, we will not be in the same place anymore. We now have services that did not exist that now do exist. We have businesses that have evolved into things that they never imagined they would evolve into, because they realized they had to learn new things. They had to be a better way. They had to do things in a different way. They had to accept the reality of their situation, that in order to inherit the future, they had to prepare themselves today. And that's what it's about for you right now. You must prepare yourself, you must prepare your teams, and you must prepare your organizations today for the new tomorrow that is coming. And that's really the reality of what we're dealing with right now. A new tomorrow is going to come, and it is only the learned, those that have made the investment in themselves, in their teams, to prepare them, who will be beautifully equipped to deal with the new world that will exist. What I've done here in the time that I've had here is to try to hopefully open you up to something new, to see things in a new and a better way. Now, I, of course, do coaching, I do speaking, I do all of these type of things. If you want more information about me, then you see my email address here, johnny@transitionman.com, or you can call me, even though that's a Chicago number. I do live in Florida, and you can call me up and we can have a conversation about where you are right now and where you're trying to go. And we can have a conversation about it, and we can figure out what things would make sense to help you get to where you need to be or your organization needs to be. I want to thank Bama for having me here and allowing me to do what I do, and I will turn this back over to Beth.
Thank you so much, Johnny. We appreciate you reaching out and offering these suggestions to our members. I'd like to thank both gentlemen for being with us this afternoon, and thank you all for attending. As noted earlier, by attending, you will receive access to an individual assessment and/or organizational assessment at no charge through April 27th, compliments of Florida Makes and Bama. Also, the recording of this webinar will be provided to you within a few days. I thank you all for attending today. As you exit the webinar, please complete the survey. We're seeking your feedback on how to improve these webinars and better meet your needs with topics of value to you. Thank you and have a wonderful week.